The repressive republic is crushing dissent with brutality that knows no bounds. Kurdish cities like this one bearing the brunt of an unforgiving crackdown that's left no place safe, with security forces now hunting down the injured.
The injured don't go to hospitals, because if they go there, plainclothes police will arrest them. Even in most pharmacies, they cannot go and get treated, because they will be immediately identified and eventually lead to their arrest. For this reason, people are not being treated for their wounds.
This is the leg of a 14-year-old boy peppered with what appears to be birdshot wounds. Protesters in his town know better than to go to the hospital. A story replicated over and over across the country. Doctors, protesters, and a human rights group tell CNN hospitals have turned into a trap, too dangerous for protesters. A doctor inside Iran who doesn't want to be identified for his safety spoke to us through the voice of a translator.
They mostly come undercover, but most of times they are recognizable by some signs. They come and ask about new patients, if they want to use force. We have to answer them. Most of the times we use fake names or fake calls for protesters to help them so that they would not be recognized by intelligence forces.
Security services are tracking down on identifying people by the horrific injuries they're inflicting on protesters. And it's not just at hospitals. Protesters say ambulances are being used to detain people. In this video, people attack an ambulance with security forces inside. The narrator says protesters are saving a girl. Not knowing who they can trust, desperate protesters are now turning to an Iranian-American doctor in New York for critical medical advice over Instagram.
The pictures they would send me are, as basic as, fractures and when they're running away from the police versus like brutal beatings. People have sent me skull fractures that they're trying to treat in their house. The multiple pellets throughout their body. A lot of them fear spend the next 10 years of my life in prison or just kind of let this, broken femur heal on its own.
Dr. K, as he's known, is relying on a small underground network of doctors he trusts.
A lot of this is happening, in covert areas, like hidden areas by doctors that they want to remain anonymous.
Doctors helping protesters have reportedly been arrested, but that isn't stopping those putting duty above self.
As a doctor, I see this as a duty to save people anywhere. When the hospital is not safe, I try to help people on the street, no matter where, no matter what risk. No one should die because of seeking freedom.
And Aaron, we did ask the Iranian government about the apparent arrest of protesters at hospitals and clinics, but the Iranian government did not respond to our request for comment. This, Aaron, as I'm hearing from Iranian Americans, that more and more protesters are getting in touch with them, asking for their help to connect them with doctors in the U.S. It's a really desperate situation.